The image without dark frames looks better. It's the same camera, it's the same night, it's the same data. Perfectly matched darks at the same temperature and the same exposure length using the same gain, applied correctly. And the result without them is cleaner. Dark frames are presented as an essential in almost every astrophotography tutorial I've ever looked at. I followed that advice for many years, and I tested it properly. And what the data showed changed how I work. 4 stages of comparison. These are real numbers. Now let's go through what I found. M27, or the Dumbbell Nebula, is the target that I've been imaging. ZWO ASI533MC Pro one-shot color camera is the model that I've used here, and I cooled my camera down to 0 degrees Celsius. I took 371 light frames at 60 seconds exposure each at unity gain, and dithering was enabled between every frame. I took 30 dark frames immediately after the session using the same camera, the same temperature, the same exposure, and the same gain. These darks were as matched as they can possibly be. So I then had 2 stacks in Cyril with identical settings, the same registration, the same Winsorized Sigma Clipping rejection algorithm, the same background extraction sample area. The only variable was that I applied darks to one stack and I didn't to the other. Now here's what I found. Stage 1, this is the raw auto stretch straight out of Cyril before any processing. I couldn't tell them apart. Identical background noise, identical star sizes, identical nebula brightness. The darks made 0 visible difference at the stack stage. Can you see any difference? Now stage 2, and this is after background extraction. Now I started to see some kind of a difference. The no dark stacked looked marginally cleaner, more neutral background, and slightly tighter stars. I also noticed something important about the stretch. The no dark stack needed more black point adjustment to reach the same background brightness. That tells you what the darks were actually doing, subtracting real background signal along with the thermal noise they were designed to remove. On a cooled sensor with minimal dark current, there's almost no thermal noise to subtract, but the subtraction still affects your signal. Now stage 3. I next ran both stacks through the same color mixer script with identical settings. The difference became clear. The no darks version produced noticeably better color, more natural HA red, cleaner O3 teal. The darks version came out greener and flatter, and I really didn't like it so much. The dark subtraction had actually altered the signal distribution enough to affect color balance, even with a perfectly matched master dark. Now let's move on to why this happens. The dark current, that is the thermal noise that the darks should remove, roughly doubles for every 6 to 8 degrees of temperature increase. Cool your sensor to 0 degrees and dark current becomes negligible over a 60-second exposure. There's almost nothing for the darks to subtract. Add dithering into this as well between frames, which randomizes fixed pattern noise. Dithering moves the guide star slightly between frames, so fixed pattern noise and hot pixels land in different positions in each exposure. Winsorized Sigma Clipping then rejects them statistically during stacking. Without dithering, the case for keeping darks is stronger, and you already have a pipeline that handles what darks were designed to fix. Applying darks on top of that isn't adding protection, it's subtracting signal you actually captured. And one more thing, my master dark used 30 frames. So I'm being transparent here. That's within the normal range, but on the lower end. A master dark from 30 frames carries its own statistical noise. When you subtract it from your lights, you may be adding that noise back in. So that's one small caveat here. Well, you may be asking, does this apply to everyone? No. If you're imaging with a DSLR or an uncooled camera, dark current is significant and darks genuinely do help. Test it on your own data to be sure. But if you're using a modern cooled dedicated camera like I am, That is a ZWO, a QHY, a Player One, or any current generation cooled sensor, and you're dithering and using Sigma clipping stacking, my data suggests you should test, in fact, whether darks are actually improving your results or not. You might be spending time on a step that's working against you. And so, are darks with a cooled camera like I've used actually worth it? Here's my verdict. Well, the answer, at least on my ASI533MC Pro, cooled to 0 degrees, with dithering enabled and Winsorized Sigma Clipping, darks did not help at all. At every controlled stage of the test, the no dark stack was equal or even better than the other version. The no darks image is the stronger result. That's what my test has shown. The advice is to always use darks. And in my opinion, that's much too simple. The data should drive the decision, not the tutorial or the advice. So do check. If you want to try dropping darks next time you're processing your images, make sure that dithering is enabled in PhD2 or your capture software, and use Winsorized Sigma Clipping in Cyril or your stacking program. Those two things together handle what most darks were designed to fix. Without dithering, dropping darks is much riskier. And by the way, you can pick up my free imaging checklist and a guide to 50 must-image nebulae on my website at astroimagery.com/get cheat sheet. The link is below in the description. Go there and get those free guides. So I'd like to ask you this. Do you use dark frames? And have you ever tested with your equipment whether they're actually making a difference to your images? Drop your answer below and I'd love to hear what you think. Now, if blurry images are your current problem, that video is here, and you can also see the link down in the description to that video and a few others which I believe will help you with your imaging workflows. So do check those out. This has been Carl Pereira from Astro Imagery. See you in the next one.